Jim, tell us now about sugar, why our body needs it, and what types of sugars are the best for our body.
David, every cell in the body runs on sugar. You have to have sugar. That's why you have a blood sugar. You got cells in your body 24 hours a day burning sugar to maintain a temperature of 98.6, or you're in the morgue. And when you burn a sugar, a carbon, it gives off a waste, a smoke, a poison, a toxin. We call it oxidation, and it's neutralized with amino acids from the liver. So you have to keep taking a constant supply of amino acids to keep the liver topped off with amino acids. And then it's pretty simple once you understand what Dr. B's put in the books and you read what's in our book. So everything you eat is converted to sugar. You've got simple sugars, which are quick sugars, and you got complex carbohydrates, which are complex sugars, meaning that it takes 20 minutes to a half hour for the sugar to break down, where a simple sugar like orange juice or just raw sugar, it goes right into the bloodstream very quickly, but it's only good for 15 minutes. If you take a baked potato, an average baked potato, with the skin on, it'll last up to 2 hours. So you have to keep a sugar level going. There are other systems that are complicated, cation, anion pumps, but we're not getting into that, where you run on sugar. And if you take caffeine, all caffeine does is stimulate the adrenal glands that over the kidneys, and it tells the liver to give up its stored sugar called glycogen. As soon as it gives it up, the body cannibalizes off itself to put another load back in to act to an emergency. The statement I just made on caffeine is contained in Dr. Mendel's Vitamin Bible, and this new one on page 436, and it states exactly what I just said, that caffeine stimulates the adrenal glands, tells the liver to give up its stored sugar. And when you take caffeine, that's where your energy comes from. It comes from your own body. It doesn't come from a quick energy drink or something you're taking. It comes from your own body, and the body cannibalizes off itself. So I strongly recommend that you get our book and read it, or read about caffeine in Dr. Mendel's Vitamin Bible, his older one or his newer one. And caffeine, it wipes out your vitamins, your minerals, screws up your DNA. If you read what he says in here and you research caffeine, you wouldn't want to put it in your system. It's responsible for most of the problems that we have, according to Dr. Batman, and I agree.
So Jim, someone's lagging after lunch, their energy's low. Can they just put sugar on their tongue to feel energized?
Yeah, you can take a little sugar pack, like Sugar in the Raw or just granulated sugar, or you could take a real sugar lifesaver or butterscotch or a mint. Just put it on your mouth and suck on it, and that sugar goes from in the lining in your mouth called the mucosal, it goes directly into your bloodstream, sublingual, and you get a surge of energy immediately. Same thing if you think you need a little more salt, put a little salt on your tongue, goes into your bloodstream, and you're going to prove to yourself, if you need more salt, put it on your tongue. If you feel better, you needed it. It's an electrolyte. If you put sugar on your tongue and you raise your blood sugar up a little bit, a lot of times people, they have an ache or pain. Drink some water, put sugar on your tongue. 9 times out of 10, with the salt and the sugar, your pain will lessen, it'll abate. It's covered in our book in the pain section in there, and Dr. B also has some chapters on it.
Well, in talking also about sugar, there is sugar right here next to you in an IV bag, is that correct?
That's right. It's called dextrose sugar water, and we've got saline. And then the other one they give a lactate ringer when you go to the hospital in some cases, because caffeine, it wipes out B1, B2, B6, B12, zinc, potassium, and vitamin C, which is mentioned in page 436 right in here. That's why we have so many problems. People don't understand what caffeine does. It's also a diuretic. It makes the water run through the body so quickly it doesn't have time to utilize the water. So water's poison to the body without salt. They've never given an IV of water in a hospital. It's always saline salt water. Too much salt's bad for you, but too much water's bad for you. It's got to be a balance, and only you can figure out the balance. The best doctor of David is David. And each person has to figure out what their needs are of water, salt, sugar, amino acids. If you take fruit that's loaded with potassium, as Dr. B states, potassium won't go into a cell and stay there without salt. And if you don't have the salt, then histamine is turned on. Histamine's a good guy. All it does is balance out your electrolytes. so that you don't get sick and die. But there's side effects from it, like learning to read your body. If you get a runny eye, a runny nose, or your dry cough, you're coughing, you're dehydrated. So you either need more potassium, more water, more salt, in some cases more sugar, because the cell has to have a certain sugar level in it, or the cell won't hang on to the water, it won't function properly.
So that's a summary on sugar, and thanks, Jim, for covering that. And there's a more elaborate overview here in the book Goo Proof Health. So thank you very much.